The evening was quiet in a small, cozy home. The sun had just set, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. Inside the house, the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the faint ticking of a wall clock were the only sounds. A young girl, about 10 years old, sat on the edge of her bed, her eyes glancing toward her mother, who was sitting on the couch looking tired. The mother's shoulders slumped as if the weight of the day pressed down on her. She had spent the entire afternoon cleaning, cooking, and managing little tasks around the house, and it showed in her weary expression. The girl watched quietly, feeling a tug in her chest. She wanted to do something special, something that would make her mother smile and forget the stress of a day, even if just for a moment. She remembered the old piano in the corner of the living room. It wasn't a grand instrument, just an ordinary one with a few chipped keys and scratches from years of use, but to her, it was magical. She had always loved music and spent hours practicing on it whenever she could. Taking a deep breath, she stepped carefully into the living room, her small feet making soft sounds against the wooden floor. Her mother looked up, slightly startled, but smiled warmly when she saw her daughter approaching. The girl hesitated for a moment, gathering her courage, and then spoke softly, almost in a whisper. "Mom, can I play something for you?" Her mother tilted her head, surprised by the request. "Play something for me?" she repeated, her voice tired but gentle. She didn't expect anything special, thinking it would be just a little tune, something simple that her daughter liked to play. But she nodded nonetheless, encouraging her with a kind smile. "Of course you can." The girl's face lit up with a small, shy smile. She moved toward the piano and lifted the cover, revealing the keys that had seen so many notes played over the years. She pressed a few keys lightly, testing the sounds, her fingers trembling slightly. The familiar feel of the piano beneath her fingertips gave her comfort. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, imagining the melody she wanted to create, the story she wanted to tell through her music. She began to play, starting softly, almost hesitantly. The first notes were simple and sweet, floating gently through the living room. Her mother leaned back on the couch, listening, a hint of surprise in her eyes. The girl's playing was different today. It wasn't just random keys being pressed. There was emotion in every note, a gentle warmth that seemed to fill the room. The girl's small hands moved carefully but confidently, as if she had been practicing not just for herself, but for this very moment. As the melody unfolded, it became clear that there was more to this performance than her mother had expected. The tune was familiar yet new, simple yet touching, and it had a rhythm that seemed to speak directly to the heart. Her mother's eyes softened, a few tears threatening to fall as she listened. She didn't say anything, not wanting to interrupt, but she felt a swell of pride and love for her daughter. She realized that this little girl, who always seemed so quiet and reserved, had a depth of feeling and talent that she hadn't fully noticed before. The girl's focus was intense. She was lost in the music, in the way each note could express what words sometimes couldn't. She imagined telling her mother how much she loved her, how she appreciated all the little things she did every day through these notes. The piano became her voice, her way of showing care, gratitude, and affection in the purest form. Her fingers danced over the keys, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, following the rhythm that had taken shape in her mind. The music grew richer and more layered with every passing moment, filling the room with a sense of calm and wonder. The mother watched, amazed at how her daughter's talent seemed to blossom so naturally, how the music could capture emotions that neither of them had spoken aloud. As the final notes approached, the girl felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. She wanted the ending to be perfect, a gentle closure to the story she had been telling through her music. Her hands trembled slightly, but she maintained her focus, letting the last notes linger in the air, soft and delicate, before finally fading away. The room fell silent for a heartbeat, as if everyone was holding their breath, not quite ready to break the magic. Her mother's eyes glistened with tears now, and she reached out to gently touch her daughter's shoulder. "That was beautiful," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I didn't know you could play like that." The girl smiled shyly, feeling both proud and relieved. She had wanted to make her mother happy, and seeing her reaction made all the practice and effort worthwhile. It was a simple evening, a simple request, but it had turned into something extraordinary, a moment that would be remembered for a long time. The neighbors, who had come to visit briefly, quietly entered the room just in time to witness the end of the performance. They exchanged looks of amazement, impressed by the young girl's skill. No one had expected such talent from someone so young. Whispers of admiration and surprise filled the room, but the girl and her mother shared a quiet, intimate smile, knowing that this moment was theirs alone. After a few moments, the girl closed the piano cover, her hands still resting lightly on the keys. She looked at her mother, who hugged her tightly. "Thank you," the mother said softly. "This was the best thing anyone has done for me today." The girl felt a warmth in her heart, a sense of connection and love that was deeper than words could express. She realized that music had the power to touch hearts in ways that nothing else could. That evening, what started as a simple, quiet request to play for her mother became a memory filled with emotion, pride, and the gentle magic of discovering talent when it was least expected. It was a beginning, not just of a performance, but of a journey that would take both the girl and her mother to places filled with wonder, joy, and the unexpected beauty of real-life moments shared through music. After the first evening of playing for her mother, the young girl felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She could still remember the way her mother's eyes had shone, the gentle smile that had spread across her face, and the soft tears that had threatened to fall. Those moments stayed in her mind like a warm light, and she couldn't stop thinking about them. She wanted to play again, but this time she wanted to do more. She wanted the music to be even more meaningful, more touching, something that would make her mother's heart soar with joy. That night, after everyone had gone to bed and the house was quiet, she returned to her small room. The moonlight spilled softly through the window, and the shadows of the furniture stretched across the walls. She pulled out a notebook where she had scribbled notes, reminders, and pieces of music she had learned or made up on her own. There were sketches of melodies, little diagrams of keys, and small hearts drawn beside some lines. She looked at these notes carefully, remembering how each one made her feel when she played it. She wanted to choose the perfect piece for the next performance, a piece that would speak directly to her mother's heart. She spent hours thinking and experimenting. Sometimes she played a part of the song over and over, trying to get the right sound, the right emotion. She noticed how the music could change depending on how she pressed the keys, how fast or slow she played, and how she added small pauses. Each variation made her feel like she was telling a slightly different story, and she began to understand how powerful music could be as a language on its own. Over the next few days, she practiced secretly whenever she could. She would wake up a little earlier than usual before her mother stirred and quietly play on the piano. When she came back from school, she would spend some time alone, experimenting with different notes, rhythms, and melodies. Sometimes, she hummed softly along, imagining her mother listening, imagining her mother smiling, and imagining the room filled with warmth. She worked tirelessly, not out of pressure, but out of love and determination. She wanted this music to be more than just a tune. She wanted it to be an expression of everything she felt for her mother. Her mother, meanwhile, noticed her daughter spending a lot of time near the piano but didn't fully understand what was happening. She saw her daughter's small fingers moving quickly, practicing quietly, and she felt a sense of pride. But she also sensed a certain seriousness, a determination she hadn't seen before. It was more than just playing. It was as if her daughter was preparing for something important. The mother would smile quietly to herself, thinking how grown-up her little girl was becoming. She felt both amazed and slightly anxious to see what her daughter was planning. As the days passed, the girl also thought about the emotions she wanted to convey through her performance. She remembered her mother's tired eyes, the way she always put others first, the small sacrifices she made daily. She wanted to capture all that in her music. She imagined the melody starting gently, like a soft sunrise, then gradually growing into something fuller and richer, reflecting the love and admiration she felt. She practiced adding small, delicate flourishes, pauses that would allow the music to breathe, and notes that would linger in the air like gentle whispers. One afternoon, a friend came over unexpectedly. The girl welcomed her quietly, hoping her mother wouldn't notice yet, but the friend quickly spotted the piano. Curiosity sparkled in her eyes. "Wow, are you going to play again?" she asked. The girl nodded shyly, but didn't say much. She wanted to focus on her own thoughts, her own feelings, and the preparation she had been doing. The friend sat quietly in the corner, sensing that this was something special, something private and important. She didn't interrupt, but her presence seemed to add a little pressure, making the girl's determination stronger. During one practice session, the girl discovered a part of the melody that wasn't working the way she imagined. She stopped, frustrated for a moment, and sighed. She looked at the piano keys, thinking carefully about what she could change. Then she tried again, adjusting the speed of her fingers, softening a few notes, and adding a small pause in just the right place. Suddenly, the music felt alive, almost as if it were breathing. She smiled to herself, feeling a surge of satisfaction and confidence. This small moment taught her that perseverance and patience were as important in music as talent. Evenings became the best time for her practice. The house was quiet, and the world outside seemed still. She would sit at the piano for hours, sometimes playing the same passage repeatedly, other times experimenting with variations and small improvisations. Her mother often passed by the living room without noticing, caught up in her own daily routine. But the girl didn't mind. She knew that soon, her mother would listen, and the music she was creating would make every effort worthwhile. One day, while practicing, she imagined a larger audience. She wasn't thinking about strangers or fame. She was imagining people who cared, people who would feel the emotion she poured into every note. She imagined her mother's eyes lighting up, her hands trembling slightly with emotion, and even a small gasp of surprise at the depth of feeling conveyed through the music. This visualization motivated her further. She realized that music had the power not just to entertain, but to connect hearts, to convey emotions words often couldn't capture. As the days passed, the girl also began to notice subtle improvements in her skill. Her fingers moved more confidently across the keys, her timing became more precise, and her ability to express emotion through dynamics, soft and loud passages, improved. She started to experiment with blending melodies, creating small harmonies that added richness to the music. Each day, she felt a stronger connection between her emotions and the sound she produced. Music was becoming her voice, her way of expressing love, gratitude, and joy without saying a single word. Finally, after a week of intense preparation, she decided it was time to play for her mother again. She chose the evening when the house would be quiet, when everyone would be relaxed and free from distractions. The moment felt right. She sat at the piano, took a deep breath, and placed her fingers on the keys. She closed her eyes briefly, centering herself, and then began to play. The first notes were soft, tentative, but soon, as she grew more confident, the melody flowed freely, filled with emotion and grace. Her mother, who had been quietly finishing some work in the kitchen, paused and listened. She didn't realize how much her daughter had improved, how much thought and care had gone into this performance. The music was beautiful, expressive, and full of feeling. She walked slowly to the living room, her eyes widening in surprise as she heard the depth of talent in her daughter's playing. Her heart swelled with pride and love. She could feel the emotions pouring out from the piano, the love and gratitude her daughter was expressing in the most touching way. The girl continued, her fingers moving with grace and precision, weaving a story through sound. She didn't just play notes. She told a story, her story, their story, of love, care, and the bond between a mother and daughter. The mother sat down silently, letting the music wash over her. Tears formed in her eyes as she realized the effort, the practice, and the heartfelt intention behind every note. She felt a deep connection to her daughter, more profound than ever before. The music was not just beautiful, it was powerful, emotional, and unforgettable. When the last notes faded, The room was quiet for a few seconds, as if holding on to the magic of the performance. The mother finally spoke, her voice filled with awe and emotion. "I can't believe this," she whispered. "You've worked so hard, and it's incredible. I'm so proud of you." The girl smiled shyly, feeling a mixture of relief and happiness. She had done it. She had prepared carefully, practiced tirelessly, and poured her heart into the music. And in return, she had touched her mother's heart in a way that words could never have done. The quiet evening had transformed into a moment of shared emotion and connection, one that would remain in their memories forever. That night, as the girl lay in bed, she thought about the journey she had begun. It was more than just learning a song or practicing the piano. It was about patience, determination, love, and the courage to express herself. She realized that even a small request, like playing a piece of music for her mother, could become something extraordinary when done with care, effort, and heart. She closed her eyes, imagining the next performance, dreaming of the music that would continue to flow from her fingertips, carrying stories, emotions, and love to those who listened. The evening finally arrived when the young girl felt ready to perform again. She had spent days preparing, practicing every note, imagining every emotion she wanted to express, and thinking about how her mother would feel. The house was quiet, the sun had dipped below the horizon, and a soft, cool breeze drifted through the open window. She walked to the piano with careful steps, her heart pounding with anticipation, yet there was a calmness in her eyes. She had worked hard, and now it was time to let the music speak. Her mother had just finished tidying up and was sitting on the couch, folding some laundry, unaware of how deeply this evening would touch her heart. The girl opened the piano cover, her small hands hovering over the keys. She closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath, letting herself feel everything she wanted to say. She pressed the first note, and then another, and soon a soft, gentle melody filled the room. It was calm, soothing, and delicate, like a whisper of affection. Her mother paused, hearing the first notes, and looked up, curiosity and surprise in her eyes. The melody began to grow, flowing naturally from one note to another. The girl's fingers moved with confidence, guided by her feelings and imagination. She imagined telling her mother, through the music, how much she loved her and appreciated everything she did. The piano was her voice now, a way to express emotions that words could never capture. Each note seemed to float in the air, touching the hearts of everyone present. Her mother's eyes softened as she listened, feeling the depth of care and love in her daughter's playing. With every passing moment, the music became richer and more expressive. The girl's hands danced across the keys, creating a melody that was both complex and beautiful. She added gentle pauses and soft crescendos, letting the music breathe and flow naturally. It wasn't just notes. It was a story being told with sound. Her mother watched, mesmerized, as her daughter's talent unfolded before her eyes. She had seen her daughter play before, but never like this. Never with such emotion, skill, and confidence. The girl's focus was intense. She was completely immersed in the music, lost in the world she was creating with each keystroke. Sometimes, she would close her eyes to feel the emotion more deeply, letting her hands guide her through the melody. The room seemed to fade around her, leaving only the piano, the music, and her connection to her mother. She played not to impress anyone, not to seek praise, but to convey her feelings, to touch her mother's heart in the most personal and genuine way. Her mother's expression changed with the music. She felt a mixture of awe, pride, and deep love. The melody brought back memories of tender moments they had shared, of small gestures and sacrifices made daily, and of the unspoken bond between them. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't move or speak, not wanting to interrupt the magical moment. She simply sat and listened, letting the music wash over her, feeling as if each note were a gentle hug from her daughter. As the performance continued, the melody began to weave in small variations, intricate patterns, and subtle harmonies. The girl had practiced these parts in secret, perfecting them to make the music more expressive and moving. Her fingers flew over the keys, sometimes soft and tender, sometimes quick and lively, creating layers of sound that felt alive. The complexity of her playing surprised her mother, who had expected a simple tune. Instead, she heard the skill, emotion, and creativity of a young musician far beyond her years. A neighbor who had come to visit earlier quietly entered the living room, drawn by the sound of the piano. She stood in the corner, listening in awe, unable to believe that such talent came from someone so young. The melody was enchanting, captivating, and filled with emotion. She exchanged a look with another family member who had joined silently, and both were equally amazed. Neither of them expected a performance of this depth, of this power, and of this genuine feeling. The girl continued to play, her body swaying slightly to the rhythm, completely absorbed in the music. She didn't notice the visitors or the quiet murmurs of admiration around her. She was telling a story through the piano, a story of love, gratitude, and connection. The notes rose and fell like waves, carrying emotion with every movement of her hands. The mother felt her heart swell with pride and wonder. She had known her daughter was talented, but this performance revealed a depth of skill and emotion she had never imagined. The music shifted at one point, becoming softer, more reflective. It was as if the girl were sharing a secret, a quiet message meant only for her mother. The delicate notes lingered in the air, creating a sense of intimacy and closeness. Her mother felt tears streaming down her cheeks, touched not only by the beauty of the melody, but also by the thoughtfulness and intention behind it. The girl's playing was more than music. It was a heartfelt expression of love and appreciation, a gift that went straight to her mother's soul. As the melody began to build again, the girl added subtle flourishes, small embellishments that highlighted the emotions she wanted to convey. Each chord and note was chosen carefully, creating a tapestry of sound that was both moving and beautiful. The neighbors watched in silence, captivated by the unexpected talent and the emotional power of the performance. The living room felt transformed, filled with warmth, wonder, and the magic of music that could touch hearts in ways words never could. The final notes approached, soft and delicate, almost fading into the stillness of the room. The girl played with care, letting each note linger, creating a gentle, lingering resonance that seemed to hang in the air. She knew that the ending was important, that it needed to feel complete, yet leave a sense of emotion lingering. Her fingers moved gracefully, bringing the melody to a quiet and satisfying close. The last note echoed softly, leaving a moment of perfect silence. The room remained still for a few seconds, everyone holding their breath, savoring the magic of what had just been heard. The mother reached out, wrapping her arms around her daughter in a tight embrace. "That was incredible," she whispered, her voice full of emotion. "I can't believe how amazing you are. I'm so proud of you." The girl smiled shyly, feeling a mix of relief, pride, and happiness. She had worked hard, prepared carefully, and poured her heart into the music. Seeing her mother's reaction made every effort worthwhile. The neighbors, quietly clapping and smiling, shared their admiration and awe. They could see that this was not just a simple performance, but the beginning of something special. After a few minutes, the girl closed the piano cover gently, resting her hands on her lap. She looked around, taking in the warm expressions, the soft smiles, and the gentle tears of joy. She felt a deep sense of connection, not just with her mother, but with everyone who had shared the moment. The music had created a bond, a shared experience of beauty, emotion, and wonder. That evening, as the girl prepared for bed, she reflected on the power of music and the journey she had begun. She realized that a simple request to play for her mother had turned into something extraordinary. It had shown her the importance of practice, patience, and expressing oneself honestly. More importantly, it had revealed how much love and appreciation could be communicated through a piano, through notes and melodies that spoke louder than words. She lay in bed, imagining the next day, the next song, and the possibilities that awaited her. The experience had opened her eyes to her own potential, to the impact of sharing her talent with others, and to the beauty of connecting hearts through music. She drifted off to sleep with a smile, dreaming of melodies, emotions, and the magical way music could bring people together, touch souls, and create memories that would last a lifetime. The young girl had never seen her mother so moved. The music had filled the room, each note like a brushstroke, painting emotions in the air. Her mother's eyes glistened with tears, her hands trembling slightly as she reached for a handkerchief. She had always known her daughter was talented, but this performance was beyond anything she could have imagined. It was not only the technical skill, but the depth of emotion, the connection between the music and the heart, that left her speechless. As the girl continued to play, the neighbors who had quietly entered the room watched in astonishment. Some of them had known the girl since she was very young, but none had expected this level of ability. They whispered softly among themselves, marveling at the precision of her fingers, the clarity of the notes, and the way she could make the piano sing. It was clear that this was not a simple child playing for fun. This was a young musician with true talent, capable of expressing complex emotions and capturing the attention of everyone who listened. The melody grew in intensity, each note carefully chosen to convey the feelings she wanted to share. The girl's hands moved with confidence, gracefully gliding across the keys. She had spent countless hours preparing, experimenting with different sounds and rhythms, and perfecting every small detail. Each variation in the music seemed intentional, a reflection of her understanding of both technique and emotion. The audience could feel her heart in every chord, her passion resonating through the room. Her mother sat quietly, overwhelmed by a combination of pride, surprise, and love. She had been through many difficult days, managing the household and caring for her family, and this simple act of music had touched her more deeply than anything else could. She realized how much effort her daughter had put into this performance, not just the technical practice, but the emotional energy and thought behind it. The music was a gift, a gesture of love, gratitude, and connection that spoke louder than any words ever could. The girl noticed the attention she was receiving and felt a rush of nerves, but she did not falter. Instead, she let the music guide her, focusing on the story she wanted to tell. Each note became a sentence, each melody a paragraph, forming a narrative that expressed her admiration and love for her mother. The piano was no longer just an instrument. It was a voice that spoke directly from her heart. She imagined her mother listening, feeling every emotion, and she played with even more care, making sure the story was clear and moving. Neighbors and relatives who had quietly gathered in the room began to whisper among themselves. "I can't believe her talent," one murmured. "She plays like someone much older." Another added, "It's incredible how she can convey so much feeling through the piano." Their surprise and admiration grew with every passing minute, as it became clear that this performance was not just good, it was extraordinary. The room, once quiet and ordinary, was now filled with wonder, emotion, and awe. The girl continued to explore the dynamics of the music, shifting from soft, gentle passages to stronger, more passionate sequences. Each transition was seamless, showing both her skill and her understanding of the emotional arc she wanted to create. Her mother watched, captivated, feeling every rise and fall, every whisper and shout of the melody. It was as if the piano had become a storyteller, and her daughter the narrator, weaving a tale of love, care, and appreciation that reached the hearts of everyone present. As the performance progressed, the neighbors' admiration turned into quiet amazement. They were witnessing something rare and special, a young talent that had clearly been nurtured with care and dedication. They exchanged glances, impressed not only by the technical skill, but by the ability to communicate so deeply through music. The girl had managed to captivate everyone, drawing them into her world and making them feel the emotions she intended to convey. Her mother's tears flowed freely now, her chest swelling with pride and emotion. She realized that this was more than just a performance. It was a reflection of the love, thoughtfulness, and hard work her daughter had put into every note. She wanted to reach out, to hug her, to tell her how proud she was, but she also wanted to simply absorb the music, to let it fill the room and her heart. The bond between them was stronger than ever, strengthened by the unspoken language of the piano. The melody became even more expressive, weaving intricate patterns and gentle variations that highlighted the girl's growing confidence. She added subtle flourishes, small improvisations that demonstrated her creativity and understanding of the music. Each movement of her hands, each subtle change in tempo or dynamics, reflected her emotional journey and her desire to make the performance meaningful. The audience could sense the care she had taken, the thought behind every choice, and it made the music all the more moving. The neighbors were completely captivated, some leaning forward to catch every note, others closing their eyes to feel the music more deeply. Whispers of admiration continued, soft expressions of disbelief at the talent before them. They could see that this young girl was not just performing a piece. She was sharing a part of herself, giving everyone in the room a glimpse of her heart. It was rare to see such a combination of skill, emotion, and dedication in someone so young. Her mother reached out and held her daughter's hand as she played, feeling the warmth and reassurance of her presence. She realized that this was a moment she would never forget, a memory etched into her heart forever. The music had a power she had never imagined, a way of expressing love and connection that words could not match. She felt incredibly proud and blessed to witness her daughter's talent in such a personal and intimate setting. As the performance continued, the girl added small pauses and gentle variations, creating a sense of ebb and flow that mimicked the rhythm of life itself. The audience was completely absorbed, listening intently as the music painted vivid pictures of emotion and experience. The girl's dedication and preparation were evident in every note, every chord, and every carefully considered movement. The room was transformed, filled with beauty, emotion, and the quiet magic of a young talent sharing her gift. Finally, the performance reached its climax, a combination of technical skill, emotional depth, and expressive power that left everyone in awe. The girl's fingers moved with precision and grace, creating a crescendo that was both powerful and heartfelt. Her mother felt her chest swell with pride, overwhelmed by the talent and dedication of her daughter. The neighbors exchanged glances, silently acknowledging that they had witnessed something extraordinary, a performance that would be remembered for a long time. As the final notes faded into the quiet of the room, a moment of silence followed. The music lingered in the air, leaving everyone with a sense of wonder and admiration. The mother hugged her daughter tightly, tears streaming down her face. "I can't believe this," she whispered. "You are amazing. I'm so proud of you." The girl smiled, feeling a deep sense of happiness and fulfillment. She had shared her heart through music, and it had touched everyone who listened. The neighbors quietly clapped, their admiration evident in their expressions and soft murmurs. They had expected a simple performance, perhaps a few notes played with innocence, but instead, they had witnessed a young girl with extraordinary talent, passion, and emotional depth. The atmosphere was filled with joy, amazement, and warmth, a shared experience that bonded everyone in the room. It was a reminder of the power of music, the ability to connect hearts, and the beauty of witnessing talent nurtured with love and dedication. That evening, the young girl closed the piano cover gently, resting her hands on her lap, feeling a mixture of relief, pride, and happiness. She had achieved what she set out to do. She had expressed her love and gratitude through music, and she had moved her mother and everyone around her. The experience left her inspired and motivated, eager to continue exploring her talent, learning more, and sharing her music with others. It was a turning point, a moment of recognition, and the beginning of something truly special. After the performance that had left everyone in awe, the young girl felt a mixture of relief and excitement. Her fingers still tingled from the notes she had played, and her heart swelled with the emotions of the evening. The house, which had felt ordinary just hours before, now seemed alive with energy and admiration. Her mother sat beside her, holding her hand and smiling with pride, her eyes still glistening with tears. The neighbors who had come to visit earlier quietly lingered, unable to leave, drawn in by the extraordinary talent they had just witnessed. One of the neighbors, a music teacher who had been passing by, finally spoke, her voice filled with admiration. "That was incredible," she said, her eyes wide with surprise. "I haven't seen such talent in a long time. You have a real gift, and it's rare to see someone your age play with such emotion and skill." The girl blushed, a mix of shyness and pride washing over her. She had never imagined that a teacher or a musician would notice her playing. The compliment felt warm and encouraging, a recognition of all the hard work and love she had poured into her music. Her mother squeezed her hand, her voice full of emotion. "I always knew you had a special talent, but I had no idea it was this extraordinary. You've worked so hard, and it shows. I am so proud of you." The girl smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection and understanding. The performance was more than just notes on a piano. It had been a way to share love, gratitude, and emotion with her mother and those around her. She realized how powerful her music could be, not just for herself, but for others. The music teacher, impressed by what she had seen, offered some advice. "You should continue learning and practicing. With guidance and dedication, you could achieve so much. There are opportunities for talented young musicians, and I think you have the potential to reach far beyond this room." The girl's eyes sparkled with excitement. She had dreamed of playing for her mother, but the idea that her talent could take her further, be appreciated by more people, was thrilling. She nodded eagerly, grateful for the encouragement and the guidance offered. Over the next few days, the girl began to think seriously about her future with music. She continued to practice diligently, refining her technique and exploring new melodies. She discovered that she loved creating her own pieces, experimenting with rhythms, harmonies, and improvisation. Each session at the piano became a journey, a way to explore her feelings, her creativity, and her growing skill. The support and admiration of her mother and neighbors fueled her determination. She realized that with practice and dedication, her music could touch even more hearts. Word of her performance began to spread quietly through the neighborhood. People who had heard about the young girl's extraordinary talent came to visit, offering encouragement and praise. Some were friends of her mother, some neighbors, and a few were local musicians who wanted to see for themselves. Everyone was captivated by the combination of skill, emotion, and dedication the girl displayed. She felt a mix of pride and humility, knowing that her gift had been recognized, but also understanding that there was still much to learn. Her mother supported her in every way she could. She arranged for the girl to have more time to practice, created a quiet space in the house for her to focus, and encouraged her to explore her creativity. She also helped her connect with a music teacher who had praised her talent, setting up regular lessons to help her improve. The girl was grateful for this support, realizing that her journey with music was not something she could do alone. It was a shared effort, a partnership between her dedication and the encouragement of those who believed in her. The music teacher introduced her to new techniques, helping her understand the nuances of rhythm, dynamics, and expression. She learned how to control her timing, how to add emotion to each note, and how to make each performance more compelling. The girl soaked up the lessons with enthusiasm, practicing diligently and experimenting with what she had learned. She discovered new ways to express herself through music, creating pieces that were unique and deeply personal. The guidance she received opened up new possibilities and inspired her to aim even higher. As she practiced and learned, the girl also started to perform for a wider audience. Small gatherings in the neighborhood became opportunities for her to share her music, building her confidence and refining her stage presence. Each performance was a chance to connect with people, to convey emotions, and to inspire others with her talent. She began to understand that music was not just about notes on a page, but about the way it could touch hearts, evoke feelings, and create shared experiences. The thrill of seeing people moved by her playing motivated her to continue improving. The mother watched her daughter grow with pride and admiration. She remembered the shy, quiet girl who had first asked to play for her and now saw a young musician blossoming before her eyes. The journey from a simple request to the development of true talent was remarkable. She realized that her daughter's dedication, passion, and emotional connection to the piano had opened doors she could never have imagined. The home, once quiet and ordinary, was now a place filled with music, growth, and the excitement of potential. As the weeks passed, the girl began to receive invitations to perform at local events and gatherings. Each opportunity brought new experiences and challenges, helping her develop both technically and emotionally as a musician. She learned how to manage nerves, how to engage an audience, and how to express her feelings clearly through music. Every performance, no matter how small, was a step forward, a chance to share her gift and continue growing. The recognition she received fueled her ambition and reinforced her belief in the power of music to connect people. Despite the growing attention and opportunities, the girl remained humble and focused on her love for music. She remembered why she had started playing in the first place, to express her feelings and to bring joy to her mother. That simple, heartfelt motivation remained at the center of her journey, guiding her through each practice session and performance. She understood that talent alone was not enough. Dedication, hard work, and a genuine connection to her music were equally important. Her mother's support and the encouragement of others provided the foundation for her growth, allowing her to explore her potential without fear or hesitation. The community around them began to take notice. People spoke of the young girl who played with such emotion and skill, inspiring others with her dedication. She became a source of pride for the neighborhood, a reminder that talent, when nurtured with love and effort, could shine brightly. The girl continued to practice, perform, and learn, embracing every opportunity to improve and share her gift. Each day brought new challenges, new discoveries, and new moments of joy, shaping her into a musician with both technical skill and emotional depth. One afternoon, after a particularly moving performance at a small neighborhood event, the music teacher approached her and said, "You have a rare gift. If you continue on this path, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Keep practicing, keep expressing yourself, and never lose the connection you have with your music." The girl nodded, feeling inspired and motivated. She understood that her journey was just beginning and that the possibilities were endless. She also realized that her music could touch not just her mother, but anyone who was willing to listen, and that thought filled her with excitement. Her mother hugged her tightly that evening, whispering words of encouragement and pride. The girl smiled, feeling a deep sense of love and support. She knew that the journey ahead would not always be easy, but she also knew that with dedication, guidance, and passion, she could achieve remarkable things. The house, once quiet and ordinary, had become a place of growth, creativity, and inspiration. Music had transformed their lives, bringing joy, recognition, and the promise of a bright future. As the girl prepared for bed, she reflected on how far she had come. From a simple request to play for her mother, to a performance that touched hearts, to recognition from neighbors, friends, and teachers, her journey had been extraordinary. She felt grateful for the support and encouragement she had received and motivated to continue exploring her talent. She understood that music was not just a skill but a way to connect, inspire, and express the deepest emotions of the heart. With each note she played, she was learning, growing, and sharing her gift with the world, ready for whatever opportunities lay ahead. The young girl woke up early that morning, filled with excitement and anticipation. Her mind wandered back to all the events of the past weeks, from her first performance for her mother to the recognition she had received from neighbors, friends, and her music teacher. She felt proud, but more than that, she felt motivated. The journey had shown her how much effort, patience, and love went into creating something meaningful with music. She dressed quickly, eager to start her day with practice before school. As she approached the piano, she noticed how the morning light streamed through the window, casting gentle shadows on the keys. It was a peaceful moment, and she felt a quiet joy as she ran her fingers over the familiar keys. Today, she thought, She would work on a new piece, something she had been composing in her mind over the past few days. She wanted this piece to be special, a reflection of everything she had learned and felt since her music journey began. Her mother entered the room quietly, observing her daughter with a tender smile. She had always admired the dedication and passion her daughter brought to the piano, but now it was even more remarkable. The little girl had grown in confidence, skill, and expression. Her mother remembered the shy child who had first asked to play and marveled at the young musician she had become. She felt grateful to witness this growth and knew that this talent, nurtured with love and care, would continue to blossom. The girl began playing softly, testing the melody, feeling each note carefully. She let the music flow naturally, letting her emotions guide her hands. The new piece was different from the ones she had practiced before. It carried a sense of hope, joy, and determination. Each chord seemed to tell a story, capturing moments of her life, the love she felt for her mother, and the excitement of the opportunities that lay ahead. The room filled with music, and her mother could feel the emotion pouring out, a tangible expression of her daughter's heart and soul. As the morning progressed, the girl's playing grew more confident and expressive. She experimented with harmonies and rhythms, exploring new ways to make the music resonate. She found herself smiling as she played, delighted by the sounds she created. It was not just about performing for an audience anymore. It was about discovering her own voice, expressing her feelings, and connecting with the music in a deeply personal way. She realized that every note she played could carry meaning and emotion, touching the hearts of anyone who listened. Her mother watched quietly, feeling an overwhelming sense of pride and love. She knew that the journey her daughter had embarked on was only beginning. The music had opened doors to new possibilities, teaching patience, dedication, and emotional awareness. She also understood that the girl's talent was more than a skill. It was a gift that could inspire others, bring joy, and create connections that words could never fully express. The mother felt blessed to witness this journey and determined to support her daughter in every possible way. Later that day, the girl attended her regular piano lesson with the music teacher. The teacher was impressed with her progress, noting the improvements in technique, expression, and creativity. "You have come a long way," the teacher said. "Your dedication and passion are evident in every note you play. I can see that you not only play music but live it. This is the mark of a true musician." The girl smiled, absorbing the encouragement, and felt inspired to continue learning and growing. Each lesson became an opportunity to explore new ideas, refine her skills, and deepen her connection with the piano. Back home, the girl began to think about her future. She had started performing at small neighborhood events and gatherings, and each time she shared her music, she felt a sense of fulfillment and purpose. She realized that her talent was not just for herself or her mother. It was a way to bring joy, hope, and inspiration to others. She began to dream about performing for larger audiences, participating in competitions, and even sharing her music online, imagining the impact it could have on people far beyond her neighborhood. The mother continued to be a guiding presence, offering encouragement, support, and practical assistance. She helped her daughter schedule practice time, connect with the music teacher, and explore performance opportunities. She understood the importance of nurturing the girl's talent while also allowing her to grow at her own pace. Together, they formed a strong partnership, united by a shared love for music and a belief in the potential that lay ahead. As the weeks passed, the girl's performances became more frequent and refined. She learned to manage stage presence, control her nerves, and connect with her audience on a deeper level. Each performance, whether for a few neighbors or a small gathering, taught her something new. She discovered the power of music to evoke emotions, create memories, and build connections. People who listened were often moved, expressing admiration, encouragement, and sometimes even tears of joy. The girl began to understand the responsibility and privilege of sharing her gift with the world. One afternoon, after a particularly moving performance at a community event, a local music promoter approached her mother. "Your daughter has remarkable talent," he said. "With the right guidance and opportunities, she could go far." Have you considered larger venues or even competitions? The mother felt a mixture of excitement and caution. She had always wanted the best for her daughter, but also wanted to ensure that the experience remained joyful and nurturing. After discussing it with her daughter, they decided to take the next steps carefully, embracing opportunities while keeping the focus on learning, growth, and love for music. The girl continued to practice diligently, exploring new compositions and refining her existing skills. She found joy in discovering new melodies, experimenting with rhythm, and expressing emotions in ways she had never imagined. Music had become more than a hobby or talent. It was a central part of her life, shaping her thoughts, emotions, and aspirations. She felt connected to something larger than herself, a creative force that allowed her to share beauty and meaning with others. Her mother remained a constant source of encouragement and support, attending every practice and performance when possible. She cherished these moments, knowing that they were not only fostering her daughter's talent, but also strengthening their bond. They would discuss the music together, sharing thoughts, feelings, and ideas, creating an environment filled with love, guidance, and mutual respect. The girl thrived in this environment, growing not only as a musician but as a thoughtful, dedicated, and expressive young person. As the girl's reputation grew in the community, she began receiving invitations to participate in local competitions and recitals. Each event was a new challenge, a chance to test her skills and connect with new audiences. She faced nerves and pressure, but her love for music and the support of her mother and teacher helped her persevere. She learned to channel her emotions into her performance, transforming anxiety into expressive power. Each successful performance reinforced her confidence and motivated her to continue pursuing her passion. Over time, the girl began to see the broader impact of her music. She realized that her performances could inspire others, bring comfort, and create moments of beauty in the lives of people who listened. This understanding deepened her commitment and sense of purpose. Music was no longer just a personal pursuit. It was a way to contribute, connect, and touch the hearts of others. The girl felt proud and fulfilled, knowing that her gift could have a positive influence on the world around her. In the quiet moments at home, after practice and performances, the girl and her mother would sit together, reflecting on the journey so far. They would talk about music, life, dreams, and the experiences they shared. These conversations strengthened their bond, creating a sense of partnership and understanding. The mother was amazed at how her daughter's simple request to play for her had blossomed into a journey filled with growth, recognition, and inspiration. She realized that talent, nurtured with love, guidance, and dedication, could transform lives and create lasting memories. As the sun set each evening, the girl would sit at the piano and play, exploring new ideas, refining her skills, and connecting with her emotions. The house, once quiet and ordinary, had become a place of creativity, expression, and inspiration. The music filled every corner, leaving traces of beauty and joy. The girl knew that her journey was just beginning and that the possibilities ahead were endless. She felt excitement, determination, and hope, ready to embrace every opportunity and continue growing as a musician and as a person. Through all these experiences, the young girl learned that true talent is not just about skill, but about dedication, passion, and the ability to express oneself authentically. She understood that music could touch hearts, create connections, and inspire others. With her mother's unwavering support, her teacher's guidance, and her own perseverance, she was on a path that promised growth, joy, and fulfillment. The journey from a simple request to play for her mother to becoming a recognized young musician was a testament to the power of love, dedication, and the human spirit. As the night settled and the house grew quiet, the girl reflected on how far she had come. She felt gratitude for her mother, who had nurtured her talent and encouraged her at every step, and for the community and teacher who had recognized and supported her gift. She felt pride in her own dedication and growth, and excitement for the future. With each note she played, she knew she was sharing a piece of her heart, and that was the greatest reward of all. The journey was ongoing, filled with challenges, discoveries, and moments of beauty, and she was ready to embrace it fully, knowing that her music could touch the world in ways she had only just begun to imagine.